Why does science seem so successful? What makes science special? What science even really is? And what is pseudoscience? These are just some of the questions discussed in the philosophy of science. What have you been taught or are being taught at school? Think about school subjects such as mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, psychology, history, law, literature, languages, and so on. All the things taught to you in these subjects at least ought to be based on academic research. What you are taught may be already a bit outdated by the time it is being taught to you, or it may be overly simplified for pedagogical reasons. But none of that information would exist in the first place, and did not exist historically, until some people did research and figured those things out. You could also be one of those people who figure things out and teach their findings to others. That is the essence of science. But you were probably not taught how to do that at school. It is possible that you were never even taught what science is, nor were you encouraged to think about becoming a scientist. I know I wasn't. I know that some people can even graduate from universities without really knowing or appreciating what science is. Lots of people still also believe all sorts of nonsense, some of which is presented dishonestly as science. Hence, it is called pseudoscience. I want to help change all this, and doing that means talking about the philosophy of science. In this section, I go beyond the requirements for the Introduction to Philosophy course in the Finnish curriculum and what is generally presented in Finnish books written for this course. I do so because this is what I consider the most important things you should study or learn at this stage of education. Some of what follows could be presented in a later course on philosophy, FI4 Truth, or a course on critical thinking, which unfortunately is not part of the national curriculum. So what is science? The word science can be understood in several different ways. Sometimes it is thought to mean a system or compilation of knowledge organized by scientists. At other times, the word refers to the institution as a whole, made up of universities, research facilities, science publishers, and so on. The word can be used to refer to the community of scientists, or the work a scientist does, research. It can mean the process that scientists participate in. In the past, non-scientists mostly used to think of science as a body of knowledge, but much more than that, science is a method of seeking knowledge for mankind. It is a way of getting closer to the truth, to what reality is actually like, how it works, and why it is the way it is. It is not just something an individual scientist, or even all scientists, do somewhere isolated from the rest of humanity. Science is part of what societies do, and most people participate in it at least by paying taxes, part of which goes to funding science and by getting an education that is based on science. That is, after all, what schools should teach. Some go on to study science at university level and either become scientists themselves or, as is more likely, apply at work what they have learned, doing something less obviously related to the science itself. Many become teachers, like I did. Even those who do not study at university level can still learn about science in so-called popular science publications, such as magazines, TV documentaries, or YouTube videos, or websites like Wikipedia. This way, anyone with access to the internet, at least if they can understand English, can learn about science. That way, they can increase their knowledge and understanding of the physical reality and cultural societies they find themselves in. Science is the greatest achievement of our species. Through science, the universe finally becomes aware of itself in us because we are part of the universe. This realization is perhaps the most important discovery of science. In the following videos, I will be talking about the categories of science, doing scientific research, such as scientific experiments, about theories and how they function in science, and things like pseudoscience, or how it differs from actual science, and the ethics of science, at least. So I hope you'll follow and maybe even subscribe to my channel. So see you in the next video.